Welcome to the Soccerish podcast. This show is full, crazy, wild as always with Lori, Lindsey, and I. But it's a little bit crazier today because when we recorded it, it was the kickoff day for Champions League UEFA football. There's a couple of issues I got to deal with real quick.
For Champions League? That's hilarious.
But also we included the manifestation of Lori starting to cover UEFA Champions League games, so put that energy out there.
Let's go!
But that being said, energy, great energy. Our guest is Shaw Brown, an experienced and seasoned TV producer covering soccer for over 30 years here in the United States.
I would be shocked if they did not win the 27 World Cup.
Tune in, listen to Shaw, listen to Lori, and I be able to interview someone who is a dear mentor of ours.
Oh my God, why? Who let this guy in?
Tune in because we're going to be talking about tuna sandwiches.
I want to do Champions League games. I want to know. I mean, everybody might be laughing at me about that, but I want to do.
No.
I need to get in touch with somebody in Europe.
Yeah, it's not like we know anybody or anything, Lori, that may or may not know other people who may or may not have Champions League assets.
Yeah, we need Kev. I'm going to need you to know somebody.
Kev
do you know
Niall.
somebody?
Niall knows everybody.
They have women. I feel like Sue Smith has been on some games. Like they have people that have been on.
Pien, I always say her name wrong. She's super sweet.
Oh yeah,
Pien?
she's a play-by-play. Pien.
Yeah. I was just say I always mess it up. Every time I meet her, I'm always like, hi, just give a big hug, and I'm like, I'm gonna screw up your name.
And Jackie was always like, you should get on these games, but I haven't followed up.
Yeah. All right, noted. You heard it here first. I think we're on the show. Lori, Lindsey will be covering Champions League.
Let's go.
I love that you're eating something. What is it that you're eating?
Oh, I'm eating tuna. It's a late lunch. I was engulfed in Champions League and 100 other things that I was doing, and I'm like, okay, let's eat some tuna.
Is it okay? How do you eat tuna? That sounds weird, but
not excitingly. It has a little bit of mayonnaise and mustard and everything. So,
ew. What do you mean mayonnaise and mustard and everything? What else is everything?
Well, that's
now I'm intrigued.
And salt and pepper.
Mayonnaise, mustard, and salt and pepper. So I don't eat tuna. I've been terrorized by tuna and mayo. Really horrible sandwiches with like the white bread that were just squished and then they were put in your brown paper bag because we couldn't afford like the hard box lunch boxes. And then by the time you get to lunch at like 1:30 p.m., it's warm and it's squished and it's gross. And my mom would always put a piece of cheese on it too, like the Kraft like plastic cheeses because I like cheese. And that was
of course.
It was so bad.
Some of the things like I had we used to microwave fish. Like this orange roughy. What? That sounds made up too, but yeah, my parents I'm from the Midwest, and we would they would put it in the microwave to cook it. I'm like, never in a million years would ever I do that at this point in time in my life.
An orange roughy,
or
I just
boxed
saw some
mashed potatoes.
Oh, I did box mashed potatoes in my 20s, maybe early 30s. So forgive me on that one, but they were really, really good. The ones that were just like little flakes that I think the astronauts eat upstairs. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. All right. I'm trying to think of what else. What did you eat that you would never eat again now?
Well, yeah, microwave fish. And boxed mashed potatoes. I don't really understand. I should ask my family about this because it's not difficult to put a baked potato in the oven and then just kind of mash it up. So I don't really know why we have mashed potatoes in a box. Why is that a thing? Why? Whoever decided that needed to be a thing, though?
Astronauts.
We were all over it. We were all over it.
Why? It's actually a good point because I just saw a meme recently. It's in our college days, right? People don't remember it, let alone drinking water. And now college kids are I've detoxed, I've walked, I know all my sensors, I've meditated for the day. So this new generation is completely different because Lori, the one thing I can't eat again, and I tried to a couple years ago, my dad used to make spaghetti with sour cream. That's it. And maybe throw some black beans in it, but spaghetti and sour cream.
Wait, just like the noodles?
Yep, the sour cream was like butter noodles, but it's spaghetti instead. It
Oh,
is
wait, yes. So like instead of butter, he put sour cream on the noodles
correct.
with some black beans.
Correct. It
Wait, what?
when you just add a little bit of salt on it. It was my favorite meal. My favorite
Okay,
meal of
I
all time.
love
I
that for
looked
you then.
forward
If
it.
you're into it, go for it.
I
I
did,
think,
and then I've tried it again a couple years ago, and I almost threw up because that's a
well,
lot of
that's fair
sour
too.
cream.
That is fair as well, but that actually
It's
seems like the appropriate response. But I am all for people eating whatever they feel like they like. But I used to have a friend in college that would just take ground beef. Her dad took ground beef. That's it, not raw, and just put it in a bowl and then salt and pepper it and eat it raw.
yeah, Ted does that too.
Really?
Speaking of, yeah,
I
it's
mean,
yeah. Do you
I
see the
guess like is
guest?
that not, I guess a version of that would be um like beef carpaccio or what like or maybe not or beef tartare like right? Like
Beef tartare. By any chance, do you see the guest, Lori?
oh I had it minimized. Oh my God. Why is who let this guy in? This is whoa, Shaw, you're legendary. This is a legendary guest that we have on right now. This is amazing. Oh my
Thanks for
God.
having
How's
me.
it going?
It's going all right. You? I'm
Listen,
just
you just came in a really important time about how
I
we were talking
saw
about
I
food
was
when we
beef
were younger.
tartare. Yeah, steak
Yeah.
tartare. Yeah,
You
yeah.
missed the part where my family microwaved fish when I was younger. So, exactly. Again, the appropriate response.
Did the Real Madrid game end?
I saw when Mbappe scored the penalty.
His second of the day.
Yeah. Well, the second one.
Tim Weah scored today, so yeah,
Yeah, did it end?
I think so.
The the games just ended. Yeah.
Okay.
Bummer.
The games. I know. So, Shaw, if we could ask you, first of all, I'll give you more of a proper intro, but before a proper intro, welcome to our show. And
Thank
this is
you.
the stuff we talk about. If there's one thing that you ate as a child that you will refuse to eat now, what would it be?
Well, interestingly, I had a Scottish father, I have an American mother, and I was born in England. So I actually grew up eating lots of different things that English people would not eat. Peanut butter back then was like new to England. Wow, something I ate when I was younger that I would not eat. Oh God, baked beans on toast, I guess is what it would be.
Oh, you wouldn't eat that now?
No, I don't think so. No, no,
Fair enough. I was thinking
no,
maybe you would.
no, I definitely would not now. So, but definitely ate a fair amount of it growing up. So, even though my mom was horrified by that. So, but yeah,
Oh my gosh, it's great to see you. What a fun surprise this one is.
I think you're muted, Christina.
Oh, as I say, yeah, you're going to have to jump in real quick, Lori, because there's a couple of issues I got to deal with real quick.
For Champions League? That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, this
Please
is
hold.
actually the best show. All right, first of all, Shaw, great to see you. Thanks for coming on. Um,
thanks for having me.
yeah, so I feel like Christina would have given you the proper introduction, but my introduction for you would be um, the guy that knows the most about soccer globally out of anyone and individuals across the world. Um, you have the most connections, I feel like, out of anybody, which is amazing. And just kudos to you, the relationships that you build. And I feel like for me personally, you were the one that really, obviously, when I played, right, I have all those connections and friendships and stuff. But even post playing career, you were the one that really kind of highlighted and instilled like the relationships you build afterwards as well and how meaningful that is. So that's
Well,
the introduction I'm giving for
I
that because,
appreciate it. I
yeah,
don't know if any of it's true, but I'll take it. So,
yeah, fair enough.
so thank you. Um, yeah, I think
Um,
the relationship part's really important, right?
Yeah,
And
it certainly is.
yeah,
And that's
from
what makes it, right? That's
yeah,
why
from checking
you're
on
here.
people to helping people. I
Yep,
mean, we are a privileged group of humans, especially in the space
100%.
we're in, and if we can help people, we should be.
Yeah, and like, i.e., why you're here right now, the relationships that
For
we
sure,
all have.
for
So,
sure, for sure.
um, well, you and I talk, I mean, fair, we've been in more in touch
Yeah.
recently too, which I really appreciate getting reconnected again, more regularly. But what for you is the thing that's like exciting you the most right now with the work? Because you do have your hand in a lot of different things.
yeah, I think, look, the national team, um, both, to be fair. I mean, what Emma's doing is kind of silly. And I mean that in a good way. Like, she just spent a year looking at players and
Yeah,
she lost a couple games along the way. But I, I just, I watched the Euros and thought there's no team that can beat the United States. Like,
I agree with that.
it's kind of incredible to watch. And I'm looking forward to seeing her next roster. It's been a while, but
Hmm.
it feels like she's done looking at players and now we're going to start seeing like real squads that she thinks can help in Brazil. And if that's the case, like, oh, going to be blowing some teams up pretty
Yeah.
quickly. On the men's side, look, I have been blessed enough to work on 14 men's and women's World Cups, and the first one was the '94 Men's World Cup.
Yeah.
And so watching it grow has been pretty awesome. And being part of it, sort of, in a way,
Hmm.
all the way through has been great. I was part of the '99 on the television side too. So like I've been watching it grow and working with the men now, and the women for that matter. They're all a likable group, which makes it fun. They're easy to root for in general, which makes it fun. Look, I mean, how can you not, if you're a soccer fan in the United States, be looking forward to the next 3 years between the Men's World Cup, the Women's World Cup, Olympics?
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be an incredible time for soccer in this country, and I hope everyone around it is not just in it for the money, but also helping to grow this sport so that it is no longer a fringe sport for a lot of people, but it's
Yeah.
a part of life for I mean, I watch probably more soccer than most people in this country. And it's an ongoing joke in my family how much I watch. I don't have time to watch shows because I'm watching soccer. But like it's when it's played like the way it can be played, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So, and I hope people
Best
get
sport in
to
the world.
see
I
it.
agree. Yeah, same. It's people ask me that all the time about like the amount of soccer I watch, just covering both the men's and the women's side of the game.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm still pretty sure that you probably are watching more than I am, even though we're both in the same boat of watching a ton. Okay, I do have a lot of follow-up questions about particularly the men's and women's
Yeah.
team. But before, can you just give like the listeners just kind of like a brief description of your career and
Oh.
or doesn't even have to be brief. Just talk about like again your
I'll try to keep it
trajectory.
brief.
Yeah.
Um, all right. I was born in England. I
Yep.
spent the first part of my life there. People who know me know this part to be true. I'm a massive Ipswich Town fan. It's part of who I am. And I'm lucky enough that I've experienced a lot of highs with them, even though it'd be hard to know that from the last 20 years in general. Um, I always wanted to play professionally. I wasn't good enough. My dad introduced me to someone at NBC in Detroit. When we moved to America, we moved to Michigan. My dad worked for Ford Motor Company, and I had an internship for the NBC affiliate in '92. '93, I had an internship with the ABC affiliate, and then '94, I came out to New York and worked as an intern on the '94 World Cup. Um, and yeah, that was it, honestly. Like, I've worked on lots of sports and I've done lots of sports, but I this is all I really wanted to do, and
Hmm.
um, I've done. I'm guessing here. I've done close to 1,000 national team games between the men and the women. Um,
That's incredible.
I've spent all 30 years, including a year, actually 31 years on MLS because I worked on it the year before. I've worked in all three women's leagues. I've done Olympic soccer. Yeah, I think I often say if I could tell my younger self that I wouldn't have played professionally, I would have been really upset.
Yeah.
But then I'd tell him what I did do, and he'd be pretty excited.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
and my son and daughter are both soccer fans, and I've got to experience that part of it too now, which has been pretty amazing. Went out of my way not to kind of push it, but my son is a massive soccer fan, and I've just been blessed to be able to the first Premier League game Ipswich played in 22 years to be there
Yeah.
and take my kids like my dad used to do for me was like a bittersweet moment, but at the same time pretty amazing to be able to to do stuff like that. I don't call in a ton of favors for myself. I don't mind calling in favors for other people, but that was a pretty special moment for me and my family.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that's a bit more specific than I said, the most connected man in
Uh,
soccer in the world. So here we are. I feel like it does give a little bit more context to
uh,
that. So it's perfect. Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I do have some questions though about the national team, just given how
mm,
closely you've been
yeah,
connected to them over the last several years. And with the women's team, I do find it incredibly interesting because I agree, covering the Euros, watching those teams in depth. It's just like when you look at the depth that we have and just the talent everywhere around
mm.
around the field now. Um, where do you have a prediction on like what teams are close to us? Or I guess also, what's your thoughts too on this, which is, one thing that Jackie Oatley and I were talking about with the Nations League and
Yeah.
how now with the qualifiers over in Europe, all the games are competitive and they
Yeah.
mean more, right? Where this has been a really important time, I think, for Emma and her team because of the turnover, because of the transition of bringing more players in.
Yeah.
And if we had something like Nations League, it might not necessarily be that case. So I feel like
Yeah.
this past year has been critical in involving more players, getting a
Yep.
look at like, would you agree with that, or how would you
Yeah.
assess where everything is?
Here's what I would say. And I look, you know more about the youth teams than I do. I watch
Mhm.
NWSL, so I see some of the youth players coming through, and I think to myself, oh my God, there's more. Like,
Yeah.
like there's a ton more. Someone told me the Futures camp had some ridiculous players on it.
Yep.
Um, um, I would say that there's never been depth like this. Um, it's still not Spain, watching Spain play,
Hmm.
but it shouldn't be either. Like if we
Yep.
don't produce those type of players, then we shouldn't play that way.
Yep.
Um, Look, England will fight and they'll be hard to play against, and someone who was born there can appreciate that. But I just 9 out of 10 times, I think the US would beat both of those teams. I think the Nations League on the men's side has actually really hurt the US men because they can't play European teams like they used to because they're all busy qualifying and playing in tournaments. And I think it's really hurt the men that way.
Good
Um,
point.
and you can only do who's available.
Hmm.
And so like I think they've done a really good job of lining up, every team they're playing right now is in the World Cup, which is really important. Um, but I just I can't even like the depth. The only concern I have at all about the U.S. women's team is goals and where are they going to come from? Does Mal come back? Does Soph come back?
Yeah.
And if they don't, and hey, congratulations to Soph. Like these are
Mhm.
awesome things in life. Um, but like that's the only thing I'd be concerned about. I mean,
Yeah.
I've not seen a defender like Naomi Girma, I think, on the women's side ever. And that's no offense to Becky Sarabon, who I thought was brilliant. But like,
Same. Great
it's
friend,
like
both of you.
I'm a pretty big Detroit Red Wings fan. It's the first sport I learned when I moved to America. And they used to talk about a guy named Nicholas Lidstrom, who's like a Hall of Fame hockey defenseman. And
Yes.
players used to talk about like they'd be going straight down the middle of the ice and they'd look up and he had somehow put them in the corner. And they don't even know how they got there, but they didn't get a shot off, and now there's nowhere to go. I feel like Nate does that to people all the
Yeah.
time, right? Like the Germany game in the Olympics,
I was gonna
they
say in the Olympics. Yep.
she just like she beat
Tracking
them.
people
She almost
down.
beat them all by herself, and that for
100%.
defensively. Um, and I think people forget at the last World Cup, the U.S. gave up I think 2 shots on goal. The
Yeah.
women's team, like they didn't lose because they couldn't defend. They lost because they couldn't score, and they had
Yeah.
a ton of injuries that ended up hurting them on the lead to it. So I I mean, obviously, any day you can lose a game, but like, I would be shocked if they did not win the
Yeah.
27 World Cup.
Yeah.
And maybe in style too, right? Like, I thought the
Hmm.
2015 team the class on the 2015 team was
Yeah.
ridiculous. And what the 2019 team did was that France game. I'll never forget having a conversation with Ali Wagner the morning of the France game. She said France is going to win today, and I said the U.S. has never not made a semis, and France has never made it out of this round. There's
Hmm.
no way the U.S. loses today. And we had a
Yep.
long chat about it. and just if the US scores first on you, you're just in so much trouble.
Hmm.
Like you can't
Chasing.
chase a game against them because they're just fitter than you, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
And
just
one of the
life.
things, even if players are going and playing over in Europe and getting Champions League experience, I mean, one, that helps
It's
immensely too,
great.
right? But even when you think about the current setup and just where the teams are outside of Kansas City right now in the NWSL, that all helps everything
Yeah,
because these young players or players that are getting called in that could potentially play significant minutes or a huge role with Emma's team is now they're getting games that mean something, not just like if you make the playoffs, right?
yeah,
Like every game right now, you need 3 points if you're going to make a playoff. And so it just feels like there are so much more meaningful games
yeah,
for these players that are, which is crucial.
yeah. And you've got the players you sort of need in Europe playing in Champions League are playing, right? Your best,
Mhm.
I shouldn't say your best goalkeeper. What I believe is your best goalkeeper for the women's team is playing in England. Um, your center back is playing in England. Alyssa Thompson's moved over there. Let's see
Mhm.
how she does. Kat Macario has found a footing again after a lot of injuries. Like you got players at Lyon. Like I just
Yeah.
yeah
You're getting a lot of experience amongst players and variety of different types of players now.
yeah, which we
And
didn't
under,
used to have. And I'm not taking. I don't mean that in a bad way, right? Like Julie's Foudy's era would still probably win a World Cup, which is incredible to think about because how women's football has transformed.
yep,
But there aren't many defenders better than Carla Overbeck, even now.
yeah.
There's probably still nobody fitter than Christine Lilly,
Hmm.
even probably at her age now. There's probably
I
still
was
no
going
one.
to say, and now bring her in the camp.
um, but
Exactly.
but like if you think about that, right? We're 25 years on from that, and I still think one of the best teams of all time, like
Yeah.
compared to now even.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. I agree. It's just, and also, like, listen, then you add in everything that they did off the field while they were
oh,
doing that. It's just extraordinary, right? It's like where
yeah.
we are now is has so much to do with that team.
And
So
we're
it's
lucky,
just,
and the men too, for that matter,
yeah,
because of that team. And we're lucky to have, I say it a lot, I'm lucky to have Julie Foudy in my life, right?
yeah,
Like, what an incredible human being, and gave her whole life to everybody to help the sport,
yeah,
and continues to. And yeah, we are blessed to have so many women's, and there are men's players like that too that have time and time and time for everybody.
yeah.
And it makes I do work with a lot of people around the world, and not as many players than the rest of the world are like that.
Yeah. No, I echo what you're saying about Foudy. Love her to pieces and the same, right? Like true
Yeah, just
competitor when she was playing, but also just the first person to be like, "Yep, how can I help?" And also just a personality of like, "Let's have some freaking fun.
yeah.
This isn't rocket science.
Uh,
Let's laugh, let's enjoy, let's bring people in,
And
get
I
them
get to do
excited about
TV
what
with her, and it's like it
exactly.
just and the
Yeah.
most important thing about that too is when it's time to have a serious conversation about something, Colombia not supporting their women's team enough, Brazil not supporting their women's team enough. She's unafraid and so smart about how she handles it that it it makes it important to people who might not know. And
Yeah.
that's and unfortunately still there on the women's side.
Hmm.
And those conversations need to be had.
Yeah, completely agree. It's moving over to the men's side because obviously you're doing producing the men's games as well, so you have like a real understanding of what's going on. And there's a lot of voices, right? We all know that, which is also what we want. We want people to be talking, but a lot of time too, people aren't always informed or they're just telling their opinion. So where would you, if you're willing to say your opinion, like where do you feel like the state of the men's team is currently that maybe a
Yeah.
lot of people aren't thinking about too?
I think it's a little hard to answer that until October, until we see the roster for the next camp. I
Okay.
think that he's gone out of his way to look at 60 players in a year. Um, and he's had some fitness issues throughout all of that too, unfortunately. Um, I think if we had walked away from Qatar and thought, wow, 4 years from now, this team's going to be better, I think that that's the key. And I think that not everyone has had great moves to teams and got a chance to play as much as they wanted to.
Mhm.
And I think that that's affected us. I also thought we were going to make the finals at the Gold Cup after they got beaten up on the two friendlies leading into it. Um, Look, the US in general is hard to beat in the United States, the men. They always have been. I feel like they will be up for it come World Cup time. I think there's some really good players on this team. Chris Richards is wonderful. Tyler Adams is still kind of getting himself completely fit,
Hmm.
but the amount of ground he covers is excellent. We're going to see Anthony Robinson again soon. If Anthony's
Yep.
not injured, he might have made it to a bigger club in the off season. Um, Christian Pulisic is so polarizing, but the talent is obviously there.
Hmm.
Um, and look, I think if Flo Balogun can find his scoring feet for us, then we become a really dangerous team. Um, I like this team. I think personality-wise, I like this team. Mauricio is will be in a year in October, right?
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if you've met him. He's wonderful. He's charming. He has time. Um, he cares deeply about the program already and how doing well. And so, look, I want us to be winning games, of course, but I also can take all of this with a grain of salt and understand that hopefully there's a bigger picture here that we're going to get to soon. But if you're playing teams that have qualified for the World Cup, which they are, they're playing Ecuador and Australia next, and then Paraguay and Uruguay after that. Like, those are hard games.
Hmm.
And you shouldn't just assume we're going to win all these games. This is why he's doing this. Hopefully we get an opponent or two at the World Cup that aren't as good as some of these teams. With 48 teams coming in, we should be a number one seed as a host. And so it should be really interesting to see the teams we play leading up next year. And he's messed around with a couple formations, and I think that we will be a flexible team, which is not something we've always been on the men's side in the
Yep.
past.
Yep. Um, Christina, welcome
Hey.
back.
What was the big controversy?
We had Real Madrid, go figure, given a penalty for handling offense. I don't know if you guys saw it, but
Yeah,
slide tackle
Yep.
in, bounces back up. Should we have given it? I actually think no, and I think VAR should have recommended it down. We're not
yeah.
talking about we're necessarily right. It's not the bracing arm. So I saw a lot of chatter about people saying, "Hey, it's the bracing arm. It's the bracing arm." It's not the bracing arm. It's whether this was deliberate or not. If this is a natural play in the sequence of it. So that was the chatter. TT with many words, but
Christina, I had a long chat with your husband after the US Gold Cup final about the
uh huh.
handball that wasn't a handball because it was his bracing hand. And
Oh, I think Lori and I went back and forth on this
Yeah,
one
I
too.
said it was not a handball
and I don't
too.
want to get into a lot of this, but what I said to him is I understand what you're telling me, but the definition of a handball is what he was doing. So,
So correct from a literal stand. I feel like
yeah.
anytime I talk about the laws, I feel like I mean the U.S. Supreme Court, and I'm like, am I like, am I a literalist or am I like more of like a modern day, apply the laws to them? No, I mean this one. If you take a look at it again, like this one's even worse than the other
Yeah.
one. I think because he makes the block, he saves it. He's going down. His hands are where they would naturally be if he was bracing on the way down. Which, like I said, it's not bracing, but where his hands would naturally be, and it just bounces and hits it. Now you have distance we're allowed to consider, and you have basically who played the ball. If a defender plays it into their own hand, they're not
I
going to play it into their
I
own
feel
hand, kind
like
of
I
a
know the
thing.
laws pretty well.
Yeah.
The
So
handball is just an argument for everybody
actually,
about
Lori, do you know
everything.
how like Sean and I met?
No.
Got it. Shaw is like one of the producers, which, by the way, shout out to Shaw. He's the one who brought me into TV kicking and screaming. I always then thank him after the fact, but in the beginning, like I struggled because I knew it would be like a violation of my referee creed to come on TV and talk. But Shaw's that person who would come in and want to get to know more about refereeing. He'd want to know about like the angles, what are we looking for, how he can call shots for the cameras when he's in the TV truck, like what are we looking for? So we talk about somebody who cares to tell the fan, the
Yeah.
audience, what you're looking at and give them the best angles. So yeah, Shaw goes to the locker rooms all the time for the referees.
I
He covered
love
all
it.
my U.S. women's national team games and would just pop in, say hi, ask questions, sometimes debate us from time to time, and now he's a good friend.
I said Shaw is the most connected person I know in the game in the world. Just knows everybody. He's built relationships that are extraordinary and just speaks
Well,
volumes about. And so that was my introduction. And then I
to
had
be
him
Hey.
introduce
fair,
himself. I had him introduce himself too because I was like,
to be
well,
fair, if I could have stayed in the background my whole career, I would have. But the Christina part that she doesn't tell is I asked her husband, who's also a referee, and said, "Do you think she might be interested in doing this?" And he's like, I don't know." And I had a U.S. men versus Colombia game in Tampa. I think it's the last time we were in Tampa for the national team, the men.
Oh, yeah, and they're coming back
And
on the 18th. Shout out
yeah,
US
and
Soccer,
I
November
said,
18th
"Hey,
against
Christina, why
Uruguay.
don't you come stand behind me during the game? And when a whistle's blown, I just want you to talk to me and tell me good call, bad call, and why. But be concise."
Perfect.
And she said, "Okay, I'll come do that." I don't know if anyone's ever been in a TV truck. I know you've all had headsets on, but there's a lot of people talking to me all at once as the producer.
Yeah.
And Christina stood right behind me, and every time, I mean, he handed out a yellow card like 1 minute into the game, and Christina's like, "Bad idea, not for the U.S. Colombia game. This is," and she told me why, and
I
she
think
did it in
this
less
game
than
is going to go
15
down the.
seconds, and I was like, "All right, well then." I think we're going to be fine. And I walked out of the truck and I was like, she's going to be great if she wants to do this. And I know that. And we had a long conversation about you need to make sure you're okay with this because there will be referees that will be angry with you. And if you're not, I totally get it. But like, I think you'll be really good at this. And I worked with her at Fox. I worked with Christina, brought Christina to CBS.
Yep.
Um, and poor
MLS.
Christina,
I just
MLS.
followed.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
just
Not MLS. Yeah.
Listen, this is great. Now we're going
We've
back
we've
wherever you
all the
get
way
talked
me,
back
just give
through
me
your
Shaw on
career.
your things, and I
we've
walk on over.
talked
I'm like
about I
Shaw
should have been
Brown's
her
over there.
agent at some stage. So,
Love
but
it.
yeah,
I send him a
look,
fruit basket every Christmas.
look. I mean, she's smart, right? Knows how to debate, and it's easy. Like it's easy to work with both of you, to be fair. But Christina, like you will listen to opinions. You'll explain why they're right or wrong, and you can do that quickly when needed, which is important in television.
No, definitely. I think Jamie just got excited when I agreed with him. Jamie Carragher did, but like, Shaw, like why did you care from the referee's perspective? Like you were like the first, to be quite honest, the first person in the football world or the soccer world that was a non-referee who seemed to care to know. So like,
So,
why did you
yeah.
care?
So I guess I'd start off with it started happening when I was at NBC,
Mm,
where we would meet with the refs, which they do for Sunday Night Football, by the way. They do it for all their sports, right? And so that became interesting. Look, I believe that we need to be right on television, regardless.
mm,
Like, and if that means that we say, "Hey, we just talked to somebody and they explained what is actually correct," then we need to fix it, especially with the refereeing part of it. It's breathtaking to me how little a lot of players know of the law, um, which is crazy but true. I remember coming in after a game in DC, the next game, Mark Geiger ref that game and he ref the next game we did. And we walked in and he's like, "Hey, you were wrong last week." And we discussed it. He explained to me why we were wrong. And on the broadcast later that day, when he made a call, Ola White said, "Hey, by the way, we just want to fix something that happened in our game last week."
mm,
And we fixed it. And he called me that week and said, "You need to do that." I said, "Yeah, we were wrong. We need to do that. Like, we're not helping you guys if we're saying wrong stuff." So the goal is to be correct. We're not going to be correct 100% of the time, but if we're going to educate, and I don't mean educate like, "Hey, this is offside." We're long
mm.
past that in America. I mean, educate on the nuances on what makes, well, we should be, I should say, long past that.
I
I saw
love you,
that face,
Shaw, but
Christina.
I still
Um,
get asked my opinion on whether it's
yeah, for
offside or
sure.
not.
I still have to explain it to my wife. So, but she doesn't really care that much, so it's fair. But I would say that like it's part of our job is that. Like, I still want to go
Mm,
to one of your ref days in Dallas and like try to complete it. I only because then I'll know for sure. Like, okay, why is it so difficult? I, by the way, have these conversations with the camera guys. Hey, why is it so hard for a camera one to stay with the ball the whole time? Like,
mm.
I like to learn, at least when it comes to the soccer part of this and the TV part of it. And I think it's our job to make sure if we're going to say and show stuff, it should be correct.
Mm.
Well, that makes sense.
So, how many World Cups have you done now? Like, I lost track. I was explaining to my producer, and I was like,
I've I've
I don't want to
I've
shortchange
done
it.
yeah, I've done seven of each. I missed the 94 is my first. I missed the 95 women's because I was still in college. And I missed the last women's because of my father. And I worked on the 14 World Cup, but I didn't go to Brazil because my daughter just was not even 6 months old. So, so I have basically been involved with every World Cup um, since the last time the men played here. So it just
It's
makes me old,
amazing.
to be fair.
This is
So
like
I,
30 years of World Cup coverage, right? World Cup
yeah.
is
yeah,
on our doorstep.
yeah,
It's more than knocking. Obviously, us, soccer people know this. I think the U.S. population, general Gen Pop, right, is about to find out here shortly
yeah.
once January changes and all the FIFA stuff comes and litters our entire, continent. How, from everything you've seen, now that we have it here, how do we keep that momentum? How do we
Yeah.
keep that excitement and that energy? Like, I think about the women's 2031, right? Like coming here to our home soil and saying, okay, I've actually created a business structure plan using the 2030 Women's World Cup. But like the men's, how do we do it now with the
Yeah.
short time period of cultivating that fans and keeping them excited?
I think part of the problem on the men's side, the women have the best women's soccer players in general are American.
Hmm.
So it makes it very easy for women growing up wanting to be like Mia Hamm, wanting to be like Alex Morgan, right? We don't have that same side on the men's side. Um, I think also we forget it's a business too, right? Because we love it so much that yeah, we make money from it and we're happy about that. But like we have to remember that a lot of people are trying to make money off of all of this too. How do we gain momentum? It's a good one, and that's the big one because I get up and watch my soccer team in England play
Yep.
before I do an MLS game each week, right? Like
Mm.
that, it's more important to me to see Ipswich than anything.
I was gonna say
So
Ipswich, call it out.
yeah, yeah, Ipswich all the time. I actually had an Ipswich sweatshirt on. I was like, I'll just take it off.
You should.
But look, I think it should just explode regardless, right? Like no matter what,
Mhm.
we have to captivate the average sports fan, which the World Cup does because everyone like all most Americans like big events, and this will be the biggest.
Mhm.
Um, so I think from that point of view, it should do well. I'm a little bummed about how they've set up the ticketing system. It's making it hard, I think, for American soccer fans who have,
Mhm.
fought for this sport for a long time to maybe get tickets. And I don't know that for sure because, everyone's sitting in a lottery waiting to find out what happened. Um, but I'd be shocked if it doesn't take off from all of this, right? We need the US to get out of the first round. We need them to at least play in a knockout game, which we should expect. We need it in this heat. We still need it to be beautiful football. We need it to see. We need Brazil to get good, which it looks like they're starting to sort that out. We need Messi to make one last run, right? We need Germany and England to do the things that they have done in the past. And you want a Cinderella. Like I have a lot of friends who work on March Madness, and they always say, "Hey, you want a couple of Cinderellas, but when you get to the semis, you want Duke, North Carolina, Michigan, and like you want the big teams
Mhm.
left. You just want some knockouts at the early stages." And I think this is sort of what we want here. Look, the US making a ridiculous run would be incredible, and that would obviously really kickstart everything. But I'm hoping MLS has a good plan to take off from this. I'm assuming Messi will play at the World Cup, which maybe I shouldn't assume that. But then after that,
His
he
latest
will
was great.
retire.
He's like, I'm too old. I can't tell
Yeah,
you.
I died when I said,
What was it? It was something
we're
like
like,
he has to be in bed
Messi.
before 9 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I mean, why play all of this and sign for another year if you're not going to play the World Cup? You can retire the second the World Cup ends, but
Oh man,
please
he's
don't
a
let us.
martyr. Okay,
Yeah,
he just didn't retire and then unretire. So
yeah. I
let's
mean,
just
we
call it what
should
it is.
all think about what we've lived through too. I mean, we've had in my lifetime Maradona. After Maradona, Zidane. Although Mateus was, I guess, in the middle of that, and Klinsmann too. We've had Zidane, we've had Kaká, and now we've had
I mean, we had
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo,
We've
when
had
first
Chris,
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, right?
Well,
Real
the first,
Ronaldo,
yes,
The
Cristiano
first one.
Ronaldo,
yes,
Messi. I mean, it's like
extraordinary.
crazy because before Maradona, you think you've got Cruyff and Beckenbauer and Bobby Moore, but they were like they sort of crossed over a little bit. We've been so blessed from the footballers we've got to see in our lifetimes. And so, I mean, hopefully Mbappe comes and does something crazy with France again, which they're a good team as always. The Spanish with Yamal, I mean, 17, my son's 15. Got to tell him to
That's
brush his teeth every
insane,
morning.
isn't it? This,
And he's going to play soccer games and he's making everyone look silly, right? So, um, yeah, look, I'm not sure how I feel about 48. I don't know, Christina, you both done World Cups. I'm absolutely shattered in the World Cup. And now you're adding 2 more weeks, and I don't even play in them. I mean, Lori's played in them. You run around in them, Christina. I can't fathom what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Um, but it also means that Erling Haaland's going to probably be at a World Cup, which he might not have made, right? It's teams that you just didn't expect to ever see in a World Cup are going to be in a World Cup now, and because of that, we'll see what I think is the best part of a World Cup, which is the color of it, the fans coming out. We live in a country where there are fans from every country in this country. I just did Korea Republic versus the United States, and everyone's like, "Oh, it was too many Korean fans there," and I was like, "No, this is what makes America great, right? Like they came to see Son, and he put on a show, but like
Yeah.
I was like, God, like I remember the '02 World Cup in Korea, and I was like, start it all over again. Like I can't wait. Let's go."
Yeah.
but like, how do
I,
we do that transition? Because like to your point, like everyone's gonna come see Sun, right? Like same thing with
Yeah,
Messi. All of a sudden, all these people come. These names that just move and sell
yeah,
tickets, blockbuster players. But how do we get the American fan to not
yeah.
jump over and say, I'm going to watch Premier League now. I'm going to watch Serie A. I'm going to watch, and
I
please
mean,
do
this
because
is
that
this
obviously
is the
funds my other
question,
job.
right?
But
But here's to me the problem, and obviously it's just my opinion.
mhm,
They're just you need stars. I mean, Messi's proven it,
mhm,
right? Beckham proved it when he showed up, right? Son's proving it. He sold, I think, something like 50,000 jerseys the day he signed. Like you need people that people know to come watch, and we can't manufacture that, right? I can sit and watch a Premier League game. And look, I did a 5-4 Atlanta Columbus game on the weekend. It was 5-0, it ended 5-4. And if you sat down and started watching, there was, I mean, in theory, a goal every 10 minutes. But at one stage, there was a goal every 6 minutes during that game. And I was like, I can't. I mean, the first goal for Atlanta was scored in the 45 plus 3 minute, and the second goal was scored in the 46th minute. So, like, it was mayhem. And if you sit and watch MLS, and I know it's not always the easiest thing to do, but if you sit and watch it every week, and Lori
yeah.
does it,
Great.
every week there's something you've never seen in soccer, which is only in MLS. And every week there's a 7-0 or a 5-3 and it's great fun. Is it the best football you're ever going to watch? No, but it's great fun to watch. And so they need to make sure people understand that there's nothing like the Prem League, right? I mean, the Italian and Spanish league only get great viewing when it's the big games. So, like, they need to capitalize on soccer fans in general. And the best way to do that is to have people recognizable players over here playing.
Yeah. I do have one question because we're all in television, obviously.
Yeah.
Where, given all this context and of the different leagues that you are familiar with and very entrenched in, where do you feel like the state of television is going in terms of soccer?
mm.
You mean like production coverage or
Yeah, or
rights?
just any thoughts that you've had. I mean,
It's weird because you
obviously
got
you
TV
have
and then
like
you got
a
the people that are
visionary aspect
producing.
to bringing
Yeah.
Christina, right, and adding elements that have never
Yeah.
been done before.
Well, look, I think adding someone like Christina and adding that context is really important. I think there's nowhere else in the world you can watch as much soccer than in this country, and I'm proof of that because I watch all of it. Honduran First Division and Italian Serie B was on 2 days ago, and I was like, okay. So, like, so look, from a gobbling up, can't wait to watch point of view, it's amazing. It's headed in the right direction. Everyone can watch almost everything. I think it's really important for fandom in general. Um, I watched Ipswich Town play 2 years ago with 3 cameras. And a year before that, when they didn't get promoted, I had one camera I watched them on. But I got to see them, which was really important to me, right? Every game being on, even with one camera, is better than it not being on at all.
Yeah.
So I think from a coverage standpoint, in the sense that everything's available, it's incredible. And from Mark Goldbridge's group with the Bundesliga to Gary Lineker's group with La Liga, I think people want to consume football all around the world. Football, football, whatever you want to call it. And it's great that it's all available. From a coverage production standpoint, it's hard. It costs money to do it correctly. And and so unless you have the sponsorship money to cover that coverage, it's not always the easiest thing to correctly cover it. And look, from a referee's point of view, it needs to be covered correctly. From a fan's point of view, you want to be able to sell the players recognizably. So all of that costs money. Um, and with production costs being one thing, and then rights costs being escalating, and everyone keeps saying sooner or later the Premier League's rights will crash. But I mean, we've been saying it for 15 years, and it's not.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we're all not smart enough to understand that people want to consume sport still. They might want to consume it on their phone, or they might want to consume it in clips, or they might want to consume it with someone who's watching it as a altcast or a second screen. But almost all soccer is being watched.
I do need to ask though for both of you guys. This ref cam where we have this huge camera from the referees. See,
So,
look, you guys are laughing.
well,
What are your
I did it for the
takes on
Club
that?
World Cup, and it was a much
Yeah.
smaller cam, and
Okay.
we
Serie
had
A's is
many.
monstrous right now. It's
Yeah,
like
we had
huge.
many rules about what we were allowed to do and not do, and I'm probably it's hard knowing what to do because until a goal is confirmed and stuff, you don't want to show that look of the goal because if they go back and look at it, you've now shown the ref's point of view and they're not thrilled about that. Look, it's just
Ah.
another. I like it. I mean, honestly, I like it. I want people to be able to see those points of view, and also I think it gives the ref some more humanization. Like I think people are like, wow, look at the coverage, look at how much ground they're making up. And I spent a fair amount of time with Peter Walton and him explaining angles are more important than being close. And and we talked about it for months and months about angles, and this was a great angle, and so it doesn't matter that he's 25 yards from the play because he could see everything from that angle. Um, this kind of gives you that. So
Mhm.
more coverage is great, period. That's
All
from the
right.
TV side, right? I'm
That's
looking
the
at it.
Yeah,
TV
we
side.
like
And I was
it.
like,
Yeah,
all right. This is also the man who's like, hey, can I put a little camera right here on
yeah,
top of the
no,
goal
I
tied to?
definitely, yeah, you get your refs not
No.
letting us put a camera or a mic inside the net is nonsense. Come on, the view would be incredible. We'll put
Uh,
padding around it so nobody gets hurt. Right?
I have one more question, but I know Laura, you might have to go here shortly. But
Yeah, but ask.
yeah, okay. So Shah, I actually get asked by players who are looking for their next phase of their
Yeah,
career, how do you, yeah, you get it all the time. Like, how do they get into TV? How do
yeah,
they develop the skill sets? Like, Lori's incredible, right? Like, I know you've
yeah.
worked with her too
But
as well. Like,
but
just,
Shaw, like
yeah.
we've sat down together a number of times.
Yeah. So I guess that's a question to both of you
Yeah.
guys. Like for that, either that ex player or for someone who's trying to get in who doesn't have, because there's a lot of people who are like, I haven't played at the women's national team level or the men's national team. How do I get into commentary, especially with the explosion of soccer in the United States?
Yeah. Um, so look, it doesn't really matter as long as you played. I think that's important, right? We've got good commentators like Jamie Watson who didn't play for the full national team. Brian Dunseth never actually got a cap on the national team, even though he was in a bunch of times. I think, look, um, you need to do interviews. You have to be able to be seen, right? Like I can't tell if someone's going to be good without talking to them, but I definitely can watch some video and say, oh, they handle interviews well. Let's see if they can do it, right? Um, I have gone out of my way to reach out to people that I think might be good. Stu Holden, someone that, while he was injured, I remember talking to him and he tells a joke about when he hurt his knee for the last time. I called like 15 minutes after it happened to say, okay, it's time to retire and come do television with me. It might have been more like a day, but look, there are some people that are going to be great, you think, but they'll all tell you, the good ones will tell you it's work, right? Like you're here to work. If you want to be good, you can't come in and be like, oh, I'm just going to watch and make decisions from that. Um, it's a job. Uh, when working with someone like me, it's not always loving. Like you're going to get honest feedback because if you want to get better, that's how you get better. And by the way, anyone who's worked with me will tell you I get it myself. Like I don't mind any of that myself. Like I want to be the best at what I do, so I expect people to give me criticism and give me feedback on how I can handle things better. Um, you have to. be a student of the game. And look, most players have been coached their whole lives and want to be coached. So this is no different. Like you should want to be coached and getting better in this. I Yeah, like I'm always happy to help people. I'm always happy to help connect people. Um, I just did the Club World Cup for tuna. We brought in a couple of people who had never done TV before. Um, they were all varying of how well they did, but they all added something to the broadcast, which was really important, right? BJ Callahan at Nashville came off the first day and said, "Shaw, I'm overloaded the sensory, the cameras, and everything that was going on." And by the third day, I was like, "Wow, got up there and he broke a play down. He explained why it was great." And I was like, BJ's like, "I love this. I actually can't believe it. I'm doing it because you're my friend, but now I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's awesome when it goes well. It's awesome when you're a part of a team, because that's, Laura, you miss that part. That's the part you miss the most, is being part of a team. And I, as a producer, go out of my way to try to make everyone feel part of a team. And I think Becky has said to me this year, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And it's because I still feel like I'm part of a team.
Yeah. She mentioned that to me when we were out to dinner too, in that
Yeah.
regard. Yeah.
I
Which
love
is
it.
so important.
Reps.
Reps.
Get in front of the camera.
Reps.
Be seen, right? You'll get your shot. You got good people like Shaw Brown, on the other side that's looking at talent. So just shout out to everyone who wants to get being in front of the camera. It's not as easy. It's work. I see what you guys put in. I just come up and I show up. I just make stuff up. But everybody else.
Well, yeah, but you
I eat
know
the
more than
snacks.
all of us, so none of us can argue with you. So
No, but Shaw, thank you seriously for jumping on board.
course.
It was special for me to be able to bring you on. Knowing how much of impact you had on myself and my post career, and Lori as well, and just being a friend to the referees. Thank you for jumping on and telling a bit of your story and continuing to tell the story of the game here in the United States.
Yeah, and a friend to us, Shaw. We love you. Thank you for
Yeah.
I
jumping
appreciate you
on.
guys. You guys pushing the envelope all the time to make things better for all of us. So we appreciate that. Trust me.
Oh, we push the envelope on this show. Trust me. This is
We
only
want that.
this
We
was
want
probably the
that.
most PC one.
That's because I'm on. All right. Well, thanks for having me. Honestly, it's
Yeah,
great.
thank
You
you.
guys are awesome. It's good to see your faces. So
Yeah, talk to
Thanks,
you
Shaw.
soon.
we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Speak soon. Thank you for watching the Soccerish podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, subscribe, and as well follow us on social media. And we'll see you next week.